Woodswise Products presents the Callmasters series.
There he is. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go tearing off after this gobbler, I gotta explain something. This program's all about locating turkeys. Before you can call one up, you gotta locate them. There's lots of ways of teaching you how to locate turkeys, and we're gonna show you those ways. The old tried and true, using a crow call, the owl call. We're going to teach you a couple of offbeat things like gobbling to locate them, especially late in the evenings. Up in the day, too, it's really a great technique. But we're also going to show you a couple of really weirdo things like using a predator call, even a deer call to locate turkeys. But most importantly, we're going to show you that funny little sound you just heard a minute ago. You said, what in the world was that? That was a peacock call. This is one of the hottest new things we've found lately, and it really makes the gobblers call. But before you can call up that gobbler this year, you gotta locate them first. Let's go.
Woodswise Callmaster series presents Screamin Gobblers with host Jerry Peterson and Woodswise senior staff members Gary Sefton and Zig Kertenis. Turkeys aren't stupid. Once a bird has been called in, he quickly becomes educated. Research tells us that they have superior hearing than that of humans. They can also dissect a particular call into a blend of frequencies and clearly identify, distinguish, and remember the call of a particular turkey. For this reason, it pays to vary our calling with the use of boxes, slates, and mouth calls, lest we get found out. The same goes for the repetitive owl hoots of a hunter at pre-dawn. Eventually, mature birds learn to fly down and walk in the opposite direction from the familiar owl hoot. These 2- and 3-year-old Woodswise toms are susceptible to the new Screamin Peacock locator. The peacock's shrill call makes him gobble on a reflex principle. It's a neutral sound, not associated with the tom's prior experience with humans. The Screamin Peacock gives the hunter a leg up on the traditional owl hooters.
This is the time you want to use a peacock call. It's still dark enough that they're not gobbling to owl calls or anything, but you can actually kind of shock them awake with the peacock call, and they'll hit it even though it's still dark on the ground. answer right over there. There's another one over here, too. This one sounds a little closer. I'm going to go to that one.
Think about that. I couldn't rely on it. That's great. Fantastic. That was nice. Nice bird, huh? Yes.
Well, that sure was easy.
Yeah, nice when it comes together quick.
There's nothing to it, you know. You just go out and set up for a few minutes.
Yeah, that's all it takes, once in a while.
Well, I'll take an easy one every now and then.
That's quite a beard on him.
That-
How old do you think?
The spurs tell me he's probably only a 2-year-old bird. But boy, that's a long beard for a 2-year-old beard. Bird for
Pretty thick, too.
yeah, real thick beard. And he's probably he's lost a lot of weight already, but he's still probably around 20 pounds.
Wow.
Maybe 19 or 20 pounds. But he's a nice bird for a 2-year-old bird. I'm tickled.
That's nice. Boy, they really lit up this morning. What was that noise you made? Boy, that really set it off.
Got a secret weapon. We call that a screaming peacock, and obviously it's a peacock call.
Huh.
You have any peacocks around this area?
No, we don't have. Well, there's a few, but none right around this farm anyway.
Well, that's where we got the idea originally, was to use we heard peacocks on people's farms, and the turkeys would gobble to them. And so we started imitating the peacocks, and we found out we were getting birds to answer even when they didn't want to answer. Then the next thing was, of course, will it work where they've never heard peacocks? And sure enough, everywhere we've tried it. And we've been out in the wilderness, out in the mountains out west, down in the Rio Grande area of Texas. No matter where we went, those turkeys would hammer on that.
Boy, it was loud. It sure set them off this morning.
It's a real piercing sound, and that seems to be what does it. You can either blow it one of two ways. You can either do that oh wah, like I was doing this morning. I like to do that when we're closer in or where I suspect the birds are closer to us, and in this case they were just a couple of 100 yards away from us. But if you don't get a response up close, then you can get on it and just really scream on it, just and just lay on it, and man, it'll make turkeys gobble farther away than you can go to get them.
I'm sure they could hear it. It's pretty loud.
Yeah.
Makes quite a noise.
Well, I guess I'll have to get you one of these then, huh?
Yeah. It's going to have to fit in the repertoire.
Well, you promised me sandwiches and coffee. We're here early enough, we might as well have it for breakfast. Boy, the owl hoots sure sound great on the Woods-Wise rubberneck gobbler. Makes them gobble, too. But you know what? Turkeys in most areas are becoming desensitized to owl calls and other standard locator calls. Now, why would a turkey become desensitized to an owl call? Well, part of it is because hunters use it too often, but another reason is that many areas contain a large population of barred owls already, and the turkeys hear it year-round and they just begin to ignore it. Well, what do you do in the case of having turkeys that become desensitized to normal locator calls like crow calls or owl calls? Well, Woods-Wise has a solution to that. We call it the Screamin Peacock. Now, I know what you're going to say. You don't have any peacocks in your area. But we've discovered that peacock calls work anywhere in the country, east or west, on all varieties of turkeys, whether eastern, Osceola, Rios, or Miriams. Now, why does a peacock call work? Well, for one thing, it's got a very shrill note to it that just makes a turkey gobble. It's got that frequency that kicks him into that gobble mode, makes him shock gobble. But another reason is that it's a call that he doesn't hear every day. And it's a call that, since he doesn't hear it every day, he just fires off on it the minute it comes along. Now, when can you use a peacock call? Well, I begin to use it early morning, even before you get into normal gobbling time, when the sky is just turning gray, kind of pink, and you want to find out where those gobblers are, maybe a little ahead of the next guy, you can blow that peacock call and he'll answer off the roost. Obviously, if you got a slow morning and they're not gobbling well on their own, you can give them a little boost by hitting them with the peacock call. Once they fly down, it's a good way to keep track of them. You can find them up in the mid-morning by using it. We've had real good success with it in late afternoon when you head out. Now, how many times have you left the car, no idea where the gobblers might be, but you head out there in the afternoon in search of that bird in the late afternoon? We've had as many as 4 different gobblers hit the peacock call at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, one of my favorite times to use it is in late evening. Once the birds have flown up to roost, you can travel along. These peacock calls are loud and they carry a long ways, and you can very often roost 3, 4, maybe even a dozen different gobblers in that last little half hour before darkness, just by blowing the peacock call. Now, what does a peacock call sound like? Well, the Screamin Peacock has a very shrill note, and it's real piercing, and the peacock has a rising and falling note like this. Now, if you want to see how effective they are, look at this.
last morning of our hunt here in Connecticut before we move on to New York State. We had these 5 jakes come in, just gobbling their heads off at this new Flipsider Plus call with the aluminum on the bottom. It gets in that high frequency that really had these birds gobbling at it. We had them right in our pocket here, 6 to 8 yards, and I decided to tip one of these jakes over for the farmer whose farm we're hunting on for a freezer bird for him. This night muzzleloader at 8 yards really took this bird out, tipped him right over, graveyard dead.
All right, now let me show you how to use the Peacock call. There's actually 2 techniques that you can do with it. First, the loud scream for long distance locating, and then the double scream used for close-up work. Now, the long scream, let me show you first how to hold it. It's real easy to blow. It's just air pressure. And when you want the notes to go up, you put in a little more pressure behind it. And when you want it to drop off, you just let back on it. Now, a little tip here is you'll want to shade your hand and hold it so that you create a megaphone. And also, this will protect your own ears from the shrill note so that you can hear those gobbles, because they'll be right on it as soon as you scream. So you're going to want to be able to pick up those notes right away as they're coming back to you. Now, blow this loud and long, and be ready to hear turkeys gobbling from a lot of directions. Now that'll work up to a half a mile or more, and you may get several different gobblers located with just one call like that. Now, another tip is don't blow another one right on top of it after you get a gobble coming back to you. Let them have, 30 seconds or more to just kind of cool off, because it really shocks them. You can just picture their heads turning bright red. They go, when they hear that loud scream, and then you want them to kind of cool off and then hit them again, and they'll gobble back to you. Now, as you're moving in on that bird, tone it down and go to the double scream. Now, out maybe 500 yards, you can blow it pretty much directly at them, but as you move in, you want to start turning away from them. And actually, as you get in fairly close, you're going to turn totally away from them and blow it into the dirt. This will help soften the impact of the call, and then also just don't blow it quite as hard. Now here's the double scream technique. Now you'll notice that if you open and close your hands, that pitch will happen automatically. Oh wow, oh wow. And as you get in closer again, blow it into the dirt. If you want to locate more gobblers this year, give the Screamin' Peacock a try.
Using non-turkey sounds to locate gobblers can be very effective, especially early in the morning and late in the evening. But up during the middle of the day, my favorite way to locate turkeys is to use actual turkey sounds. Now, whenever you use actual turkey sounds to locate turkeys, you need to be real careful. You don't want to call up a turkey that you're not ready for. So if you're going to make turkey sounds to locate turkeys, set up, get ready, just like you're actually setting up on a gobbler that you already know is there before you make any turkey sounds. Now, the sounds that I find that are the most effective at locating turkeys, gobbling turkeys, are the lost calls of the adult hens. And you can also use the lost calls of the poults, but the lost call of the adult hen will get you a sympathetic response from another adult hen, and I think that's real important. An old gobbler that's henned up, that's in full strut trying to grin down a hen's not going to answer any turkey sound that you make. But if you can make a sound that'll make that hen respond, when that old hen yelps right in his ear, he can't stand it. He's going to have to gobble. So a lot of times a turkey that doesn't even mean to gobble will gobble because you made that hen yelp. Now also, if you can get that hen to yelp, even if the turkey doesn't gobble, you can strike up a conversation with that hen, and you got a good chance of calling her in to you. And the way you do that is when she responds, you call back to her the same way that she responded to you, and I call it browbeating. You just do whatever she does, do it back at her with a little more charisma on it. Just add a little extra to it, and if she comes to you and that gobbler's with her, then you're going to get a chance to see that gobbler. Now, the difference between lost hen yelps and plain yelps are the fact that the lost yelps are longer. The sequence is longer. There are more of them, and there's more intensity. Now, a plain yelp is just 4 or 5 plain yelps. It sounds like this. A lost yelp, that's 5 or 6. A lost yelp maybe 10, 15. I've heard turkeys do 25, even as high as 40. but there is a rise in intensity in the middle and it kind of trails off at the end. It sounds like this.
Did you hear him? About 200 yards over there. It's amazing how well turkeys respond to this screaming peacock call. You know, a wild turkey doesn't know any more about a peacock than a blind hog knows about Sunday school, but that frequency goes in there and triggers that response. They respond to it all during the day, even when they're with hens. It's amazing how well it works. I'm going to sneak over here and see if I can get him to respond to a little bit of hen talk. Oh, what a turkey hunt. Thought we'd never get that turkey in. That old hen across the hollow over there was lost yelping, and of course he was in between her and me, and the only thing I could do was try to outlaw yelp the real hen, and I did everything I could do to one up her. I used the finally the crying licks on that aluminum part of our triple flip sider did the trick and got her on across over here, and of course he followed her in. He's a fine turkey. He's got about 1 inch spurs and about a 10 or 11 inch beard. This night muzzleloader really did the trick. This is the first turkey I've ever shot with a muzzleloading shotgun. I was a little skeptical about them at first, but now I believe this thing will shoot the baking powder out of a biscuit. And it's kind of appropriate to be hunting here in Connecticut with a primitive weapon, although this one's not quite as primitive as the ones that the pilgrims were using in the same area here. But it is a muzzle-loading shotgun, and it's much the same kind of a shotgun that they used way back when the pilgrims first landed here and were turkey hunting. It's a fine turkey, and this was a great turkey hunt.
Now we've decided to add a little excitement to our turkey hunt by including muzzleloading. Now the muzzleloader that we've selected is the night muzzleloader, and we've selected this one for a couple of important reasons. Number one, it's got a reliable inline ignition that will go off even dependably in wet weather, and the other reason is that it features a screw-in choke system. Now the reason we're looking for a screw-in choke system is that it gives you a nice tight pattern out to 35 and 40 yards, pretty much like a standard 2 3/4 inch shotgun does. Now, the steps to loading a night muzzleloading shotgun begin by unscrewing the choke so that you can get the cup and shot load down the barrel, and then you'll reinstall this at the end. And the next step that you'll need to do is to select your powder. You can either use Pyrodex or you can use standard black powder. I prefer Pyrodex because it doesn't foul as much. And another item that you'll need are shot wads. Now we recommend that you use the Winchester AA red wads. They're the best for this purpose. And the last consideration that you'll need is to determine what shot size you want to use. For turkey, it's best to use either number 5 or number 6 shot. Now this is a night speed loader, and it has 2 compartments of equal size. Now in shotgun loading, you want to use an equal measure of powder to the equal measure of shot that you're using. This speed loader uses about 110 grains of powder, whether black powder or Pyrodex, and that'll be the first thing that will go down the barrel is the powder, and that goes in like that. The next thing that you will load down the barrel is your red wad. Now you set that in there, follow it with the ramrod, take it all the way down, set it firmly but don't pound it or pack it, and then again with the speed loader you open up your shot and add it down the barrel, and that sits inside that shot cup. And then Knight makes these little styrofoam overshot wads, and they go down here, and I recommend that you load this very carefully. I get it all seated in there correctly, and you want to do this fairly slowly. And you'll see it's a very tight fit. You can hear it going down very much like a bicycle pump. You want it to seat firmly, and now that's in, and you'll screw in the choke. And when the choke's in, you're ready to shoot. And then once you're in the field, you're ready to cap it with an inline capper, a number 11 cap, and you're ready to go. And now we're ready to take the safeties off. First the back safety, and now all I have to do is slide the thumb safety off, and I'm ready to go. Let's shoot this gobbler's head down here, this styrofoam cup. There you have it.
Gary got this bird going just before dawn with his peacock call. Now he's having to reposition because something seems to have him hung up. Gary is using his Blockbuster 3 diaphragm because of the rain. There he is. No, wait, there's two birds. This is every cameraman's nightmare. But the second bird is drifting to the left. Gary's sitting on the right, so it's logical the cameraman's going to stay with the bird on the right. All right. Ooh. Golly, Gary, you don't have to tackle him.
All right. Oh, what a fine turkey. I believe it's about as bad weather as I ever shot a turkey in, but this is the beard on that turkey. Good spurs. We got him cranked up in this bad weather before daylight with that Screamin Peacock call, and I didn't, so when it's raining like this, I didn't think the turkey much gobbled at anything, but we got them started and they flew down in a field. There was one of the big rock walls between us and the turkey, and we just had to continue to call and try to coax him on over here, and finally, before both of us got too wet, he decided to come on in. It was a fantastic hunt. We must have called to him for 30-45 minutes in the driving rain, but everything worked out great.
Oh, yeah, right. Worked out great, huh, Gare? How about that little old belly flop you did? Looks to me like your gobbler was scrambling to get out of the way.
Texas is Rio Grande turkey country, and one of the hottest spots for hunting the big birds is on the Henderson Ranch with Sam Henderson Jr. and Mesquite River Outfitters. Jerry Peterson and the Woodswise Pro staff have picked a winner. This ranch has more birds on it than many counties in other states. Let's listen in.
Man alive, Sam, what a beautiful place to hunt Rio Grande turkeys.
It's really nice, isn't it?
This is the most fantastic place I've seen ever, anytime I've hunted Texas.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Man, Sam, this is just an absolutely beautiful place. So spacious, there's nobody around. Just how big of an operation is this?
This is 14,000 acres, Jerry.
Man alive.
You've got plenty of room out here.
You got plenty of room, that's a fact.
This ranch is mostly live oak and mesquite country. You can see that there's quite a bit of cactus out there too. Some people say that everything out here sticks you, and that's close to being right.
Yeah, but underneath all of those stickers is a lot of beauty too.
Right, and it's got a lot of game on it.
Well, that's the truth. Everywhere we go, I see deer, I see turkey, I see all kinds of game. Just what do you estimate your game population is?
We feel like we've got around 700 deer and around 1,000 turkeys during the winter.
That's incredible.
We've got some really big turkey roosts along this big creek bed down here.
Uh-huh. Well, just about everywhere we go, like I said, we've seen them. What about water and things like that?
All the water on the ranch is furnished by windmills or electric pumps, submersible pumps, and we've got it where every pasture has at least 2 waters in it, and the deal on that is that the animals don't have to travel over a half a mile to get a drink of water. We feel like water is one of the most important things to having quality hunting.
It helps pattern them too.
Right, and that's another thing. You know, we're on the ranch all the time. We pretty much know what animals are in what locality on it. There's not hardly a day go by that we're not out among them. We know where the turkeys roost. We know where the deer are roaming in the evenings, where they're at in the morning. There's just almost nothing about them that we don't know, really.
You know, it's a long way between neighbors out here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good ways, Jerry. We're 15 miles from El Dorado.
The big town of El Dorado, huh?
Yeah, the largest town is San Angelo, which is 45 miles north of us, and that's where they have air service up there. We pick up all of our hunters in San Angelo.
Man, that's just that's just like less than an hour's drive from
right.
here.
It's not too far, really. I mean, an hour is just nothing out here.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Sam. You know how to manage your game here, but just exactly how do you manage your hunters?
Well, Jerry, we try to take only 30 turkey hunters, and feel like by doing that everybody gets a quality turkey hunt. And we only allow them to take 2 turkeys in the spring, and on our deer hunts in the fall, now we only let the guys take 1 turkey. And the reason we do that is we're trying to save those turkeys for the spring turkey hunters.
Oh, you bet. That leaves a lot of gobblers to carry over to be mature gobblers, and there's a lot of longbeards here, no question about it.
Right. There's beginning to be a really lot of them since we've changed to just allowing 2 turkeys.
Right. What about your deer hunters?
Well, on our deer hunts, we only only take in 25 hunters, and we allow them to take 2 bucks.
Well, that's the same deal. You're sure keeping the quality up that way.
That's what we're really working for, is to have a quality hunt. And we want everybody to have a really good hunt, and feel like that's the only way we can do it, if we limit what we take.
Well, that keeps the group small and the fun, and everybody's more relaxed and has a good time then.
Right.
That's what we're here for. You know, I really enjoy coming out west and enjoying the wide open spaces and the relatively lower hunting pressure that the turkeys get out here, like we've enjoyed here at Sam Henderson's ranch. But when we get back east and we start dealing with those super high pressured situations where the gobblers hear it every day, starting before season and during season, you know, you're going to need some new tricks and some special knowledge to locate those old longbeards.
Zig Kertenis is clearly addicted to turkey calling, and he's good. In his seminars, Zig teaches that we should always play the cards we're dealt and never pass up an opportunity to call in birds. Jake's hens and toms all have eyes, and they're all challenging. The more hands-on experience you get with called-up birds, the more you'll learn about when and how to call. Confidence is an important ally, and there's no better way to build that confidence than talking to wild turkeys. Another trick Zig often talks about is repositioning your setup once you have more information. The gobble he heard when he blew the Screamin Peacock call wasn't from these jakes. The distant gobble was from a tom who isn't following the jake gang. In a situation like this, it's good to switch calls and then watch for a silent approaching gobbler.
North of El Dorado, Texas, hunting on Sam Henderson's ranch. It's the second day we've been here. The birds aren't gobbling all that great, just kind of off the roost in the morning. It's 9 a.m. and we got this bird working. It's a mature bird, a 2-year-old with a nice tail on him. He doesn't have all that much for a beard, but as hard as these birds been coming the last few days, we decided to take him. He gave us a good opportunity and a nice clear opening, and we just went ahead and took him down.
You know, one of my favorite ways of calling up a turkey every spring is to use a box call. And if you're not using one, you should consider getting one, because literally thousands of longbeards fall victim to the seductive tones of that box call every year. Now, WoodsWise has made it particularly easy for you to use a box call by adding what we call a quick draw feature. This system allows you to make calls so easy that if you can draw a straight line, you can call a turkey. Now let me show you how it works. You'll notice that there are some sawtooth grooves along the edge, and when you place the striker along the stop bar here and move it from one slot to the other, you get automatic clucks. And when you run several of them together by moving the striker back and forth quickly, you get excited hen cutting. Now there's another groove that goes this way, and when you slide the striker this way, you get automatic yelping. Or go slowly, and you get the purrs. Mix them together, and you can do a cluck and purrs, or excited yelping. If you want to take up the box call, consider the quick draw box call. It works also as a standard box call. Just that simple. An often overlooked locator technique is gobbling. The safe way of using gobbling is to avoid using decoys on setups where gobbling is involved.
Oh man, he's close.
Here's a few tips for you people that are having trouble getting turkeys to give away their position while they're on the roost. Traditional owl hooting's been overused so much today that you need to go to some non-traditional methods. Methods that have worked for us here in Texas have also worked for me in New England. This use of these coyote hollers and various other calls will help you get a gobbler to give away his position. The way I use this holler, we'll go through a long series of howls first. If you got a buddy with you, it works good. Just let him get off to the side of you a little bit so he can hear a turkey gobble if you're caught in the middle of it. Another alternative method we use is a predator call, and this works real good. You can be pretty close to the position of a roost and they'll still give away their position with this call. And it's simply just lay right on it. That old rabbit with his foot caught in the ringer is a natural sound in a while, and turkeys will gobble at it just as hard as can be. Hunting down here in Texas, we use this crow call and it worked well for us even though there's no crows here in Texas. They only have white-fronted ravens, and it gets turkeys to give away their position to us quite often down here. Don't be afraid to go to some non-traditional methods. Just because your buddies are all owl hooting and getting turkeys not gobbling, you need to go to something different that's going to get that bird to give away his position. It'll help you put more turkeys in the bag.
The howls of the coyote is to Rio Grande turkeys as the hoot of a barred owl is to eastern turkeys. They hate 'em. Peterson's Screamin' Coyote Howler got these roosted Rios to gobble and give away their position. Next morning at 9, Zig Kertenis set up at the head of the draw.
No matter whether you're hunting western turkeys like the Rio or the Miriam, or the eastern turkeys like the Osceola or the eastern gobbler, it's important that you master turkey small talk if you want to get them in real close. Sometimes they hang up and they just need a little something more to coax them in. Now, what do I mean by turkey small talk? Well, it's the little whits and peel sounds and little purrs and duets that they make that are close range communications, and it's a good way to coax up those turkeys just a little bit closer. Now, if you're not good with a diaphragm call, cluck and purr is real simple to do on a slate, especially this Woods-Wise sweet hen call. Let me show you what I mean by a cluck and purr. Just that little contented cluck and purr as turkeys feed. Now, this is a real close range call and it's very effective. Now, if you are a good diaphragm user or want to become a better diaphragm user, you might want to pick out a two-reeded call like this aggressive hen. And I like two-reed because you can blow it soft and it's got a real clear medium tone, which you need to make these sounds. Now, the sounds we're going to discuss now are the whits, the duets, and the peel calls. Now, the whits are just these little question calls that they make, kind of whit, 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 and they sound like this. You notice it just kind of changes pitch and goes back and forth, just a little whit, whit, whit. And you make that by going tut, 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 without putting a lot of forward tongue pressure on the diaphragm. Now, the duet call is like making drops of water falling in a bucket. It goes boit, boit, boit. It's kind of a questioning sound that turkeys make, and it sounds like this. And then finally there are the peel calls. And they're kind of a happy call that turkeys make. They go peel, 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 peel. They kind of start high and drop down like this. Now you can run them all together and kind of mix them up like this. Now if you want to get turkeys up extra close, master turkey small talk, just like this. those little wit-wits and peel calls? If you ever wondered if you ought to learn those, that shows you how you work them up close. Just little wits, peels, and those little do-it calls like this. That's how you get them up close. That was neat.
Those are key runs. Now, we've been talking about using lost hen yelps to locate turkey gobblers in the spring by evoking a response from the hen. And of course, these key runs, I think, are the most effective sounds that you can use to evoke a response from the hen, because they're the sounds that the poults make to try to make contact with the hen, and the hens are very sympathetic toward the young birds. So a key run is my favorite sound to use in lost calling techniques. And of course, as I said earlier, lost calling can be very effective in locating gobblers because you get the hen to sound off, and once that hen sounds off, she may get a response from the gobbler, or if she has a gobbler with her, she may respond by coming to check on you. So you can use the lost calls anytime, and you can't do it too much or too loud because it's a very urgent call for help. I'm over here, where is everybody? My favorite call to use on this is the triple play flip sider call, because it has so many surfaces and it keeps me from having to carry 3 calls in my pocket. So you try this lost calling to locate turkeys. I think it'll help you out.
Bird over there. Answer it back with a kiki. I'm gonna call to it using kikis, see if we can't get it to come in here. It's a hen. She's coming fast, too. I don't like to be left alone like this. Is a gobbler to come running in like that hen did.
Research tells us that the most likely time for even a call-shy tom to gobble is while he's on a limb. After sunset and before sunrise are going to be your best opportunities to get him to give away his location.
Some jakes, for sure. That's probably more gobblers than I've ever seen in one place in all my hunting career. There was probably 22 jakes, 2 longbeards for sure. And I started calling and keying, and those longbeards made a run through those jakes. The jakes all wadded up, started fighting with each other and carrying on. And then they got all involved in chasing the jakes around, forgot all about us, and then they'll run off chasing each other. Not a shot. Over here I've got where 2 fences come together and a gate. We thought this would be a good place to catch them as they gap through. Instead, the fence and the gate and all of that turned out to be a bunch of junk that I can't shoot through. Wouldn't have expected the turkeys to show up and come in from the other side. Man, what a place. I have never seen a turkey place like this one. This is fantastic. I'm coming back.
You know, wherever you go turkey hunting, the very first thing you got to do to be successful is get in step with the local turkey flock. For example, in the eastern states, the turkeys seem to like to hear the loud, aggressive stuff, especially during the breeding season. In other words, they like to hear loud yelping. They like to hear cutting and cackling. And they seem to like raspy calls, like raspy diaphragms. But you know, when you go out west and you're hunting Merriam's or Rio Grandes, they don't seem to like the aggressive calling at all. In fact, aggressive calling seems to send them packing. You may as well, in most cases, just forget about cutting. They seem to like to hear little soft yelps, like I'm making on this sweet hen box, or a diaphragm that's kind of a medium pitch, and they do this little lost call. This is the most productive call, and it sounds like terrible calling for me. As a good caller, I don't like to hear this call, but this is what the local birds sound like. The yelps don't even break over, and if they do anything at all as far as aggressive calling, they may hit just 1 or 2 lost calls, lost yelps fairly hard like this. The lost yelping, even when given loudly, seems to be very short. So just kind of remember that when you're hunting Merriam's or Rios, keep the calling soft, keep it short. And the most productive of all calls are those lost calls that they give over and over and over again to try to find the other birds, and it's that pup 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 pup, very soft like this. So wherever you're hunting, get in step with the local flock.
Turkey hunting isn't just about shooting turkeys. A big part of it for me is calling them up and getting them close. Right here is an example of what drew me into the game call manufacturing business. The thrill isn't just fooling them, but the idea that I have a choice of enjoying the hunt without filling my tags. Sometimes if I don't pull the trigger, stuff just keeps on happening. Some of my most memorable moments afield involve calling up game for my daughters or other first-time hunters, sharing the experience.
Screamin' peacock call. Boy, those wild turkeys just can't stand it. When an old gobbler hears that sound, they just have to respond. I believe it's the high frequency that just goes in there and triggers that response. I've used all kinds of locators, and I've been using this one for the last 2 weeks from Texas all the way to upstate New York, and I've had turkeys respond to this sound when they wouldn't respond to crow calls, owl hoots, coyote howlers, any of the other locators that we have. This has really been super effective. And then one of the things that I really like about it is when you're out in the woods before daylight and you hear an owl hoot or a crow call, you don't know if that's somebody over there with a call or somebody or an actual owl or an actual crow. When you hear that screaming peacock call, you know it's somebody. You know to back away from there and go hunt you another turkey. So it's effective because it makes turkeys gobble, but it's also very effective because it lets other hunters know that you're on this turkey and to back off and give you some space. I wouldn't go into the turkey woods without one.
at the spurs on that turkey. He's at least a 3-year-old bird. Look at the great beard on him. Old Dr. O and night muzzleloaders for this one. We're up here in the Hudson Valley in New York hunting at Dr. O's hunting lodge, and Dr. O has a prescription for wild turkeys. I'll guarantee you we heard 30 turkeys gobble this morning. And the way this hunt went, we got in here way before daylight and used that Screamin Peacock locator call and used it real early. That turkey gobbled at that Peacock call before he could even see his feet, and that allowed us to set up on him real tight. This time of the year I figured you'd have some hens with him. We got set up, and as it started getting daylight, just did a few light tree calls, and the hens came to the tree calling, and the gobblers followed the hen, and the old night muzzleloader did the rest. Was a great morning and a great hunt and in a great place.
Well, Gary, that's a good-looking bird.
That is a good-looking bird, and there's several of them on this place. I must have heard 25 or 30 of them gobble this morning.
We heard a bunch of them this morning, too, I'll tell you what. John, how many acres have you got here?
Approximately about 6,200 acres here.
That's a bunch.
Yeah, it is.
Is it all scattered out, or you?
It's in one solid block. Yeah.
That makes it good. That keeps everybody from.
It sure does.
From hunting into little corners on you.
Yeah, yep. And some of the birds here, they live to a ripe old age.
There's 3 of them right here.
He's got a habitat factory. It's just custom made to raise turkeys and deer here.
Well, there's a lot of edge habitat, a lot of good stands of hardwood and pines and hemlocks for them to roost in.
Sure is. Yeah.
Overall, they got everything they need. How many people can you accommodate in the lodge?
Approximately about 12. We don't like to overcrowd it. We want quality, not quantity.
Your turkey hunts usually run how many days?
2 days, but a hunter can stay 4 or 5 if he wants to. Yeah.
Works out good.
Yeah.
So you got, the season runs what from?
From approximately May 1st to May 31st.
And they're pretty much gobbling birds through that whole period.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. You get some real hot birds.
Well, like Gary was saying, we sure heard a bunch of them. I bet you we had maybe a dozen different gobblers that we could hear from where we were sitting.
Fantastic, fantastic.
When you run your deer hunts down here, how many people do you usually cover, during the season?
We run about 30, 35 people. Again, we could run more, but we don't really want it. Quality.
That's a good number. That keeps it from overrunning. You can take both bow hunters and.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, yeah.
Well, you're off to a good start.
Oh, thank you. Why?
With you, when you got a lot of mature birds like this, and we saw some jakes. There's always future.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And saw a good number of hens. That's the important part.
Oh yeah.
That's the factory of the future right there.
Yes, yes.
Well, we'll look forward to coming back and.
Okay, I'm glad to have you gentlemen here.
Any turkey worth his weight in tail feathers knows you can't call a wild turkey across a stream or river. And it's impossible for a gobbler to get across a sheep fence or gate. We also know that nothing will make a turkey gobble when it's raining. And finally, it's also common knowledge that a tom turkey would never gobble to a peacock call. Obviously, someone had better show these turkeys the rules.
So there you have it, gobblers on location. If you don't know where those gobblers are, you're only out there guessing. So get out there and use those locator calls, and you'll be calling up more turkeys this spring. Good hunting to you.
For a free Woodswise catalog, call or write Woodswise Products, P.O. Box 681552, Franklin, Tennessee 37068, or call toll-free 1-800-735-8182. The catalog contains all of the calls used in this production. You'll find a complete selection of hunting products and videos designed to help you become a call master. Look for the Vocal Wildlife series, full 60-minute programs that feature in-depth calling instructions on subjects such as white-tailed deer, wild turkey, and more. Then look for the Callmasters series of videos. This series of action hunting programs is designed to show you how it's done. So get out there and call them up.